everyone, so here is my soil erosion prototype presentation for Module 2. Starting off with the connections to some STEM careers, I listed several that I found. Some are pretty specific and some are pretty general, and there were even more than that, but I could just see bringing this into the classroom and showing kids all the different types of jobs that they could get related to this. So I aligned it with the next generation science standards. I chose grade 3 weather and climate, basically because of the performance expectation that I saw when I was looking at the standards. So that was make a claim about the merit of a design solution that reduces the impacts of a weather related hazard. So again, there's the practices, the disciplinary core ideas and cross-cutting concepts that go along with that, but that's why I chose the grade 3 weather and climate standard for this. So our question was, what is the best landscape to encourage infiltration and minimize runoff? When I was imagining this and kind of planning it out, after looking at the watershed model and the runoff simulation, the landscape needed to be one that has plants whose roots will keep the soil in place. So like the ones that I listed were the types that I saw had the least amount of runoff whenever I was testing that out. So when I was planning my own prototype, I was doing it so that I could test some different landscapes within that. So I used one very similar to the example, the erosion bottle example that we were given. And then off to the right-hand side, that photograph is just showing the cup that I used to kind of simulate like a heavy rainfall. So I would just pour the water into the cup to simulate that and into the prototype. So for my first attempt, I did layers. I did like a gravelly soil, which was kind of recommended, and then I did leaves and debris on top of that, and then I did soil with plants that had established roots. I kind of cut those out through my backyard, and the result of that was very cloudy runoff, and you can see some debris was in that as well. So what I did to improve that was that I added some more leaves to catch the soil and keep it from eroding. So I placed them into the front, and when I was doing this, I was kind of thinking of, I don't know, my mind went directly to like a farmer and having field runoff, so I was trying to place that as a barrier to keep some of that from coming out. So for my second attempt, when I did that, my results were still cloudy and dirty runoff, but it was a little bit better than my first attempt. So then to fix that problem, I just completely redid my layers in my prototype. So now I just had it contain the leaves and debris and then the layer of soil on top of that. So for my results in my third attempt, the runoff was a little bit clearer than my previous attempts. It did have more debris in it, but that's probably because I added more debris into my layers. And the last improvement that I chose to make was to add a final barrier of those leaves and debris and have it anchored by rocks. So as you can see, my runoff was finally clear. There was just a couple specks in there of debris. So my conclusion that I came to was that the landscape should have plants with established roots to keep the debris and soil in place. The best soil based off of the simulation would be have a high infiltration rate. And I also included that barriers could be used to assist in landscapes without the necessary components, kind of like what I had to do for mine. For the connections on the STEM practices, I felt that the activity covered the practices of science and engineering. I starred the main differences between the two practices, but even so, I felt that they were accomplished in this activity. I also felt that I had to make informed decisions about the technology's relationship to society and the environment. That's in the technology column that I circled there. And in the mathematics, I had to make sense of my problem and persevere in solving them. Of course, I had 4 attempts, so I was definitely working through that and trying to persevere and finding a conclusion for that problem. So overall, I felt that it kind of had a lot of those components within that, and I felt like it was a really great activity for third grade students to participate in. Thanks.